Yes. And that's really, parents really, you get caught up on like the big milestones, but where pediatric physical therapists really shine is in those mini milestones that we're able to come in and help see, okay, in order to get to crawling, we have to do these couple things first.
Welcome to Wisdom Beyond the Womb. I'm Trisha Harris with Trisha Harris Photography, and today I'm sitting with Rachel with Sandy Toes Pediatric Physical Therapy. How are you today?
Good. How are you?
Doing great, thanks. Tell me about pediatric physical therapy.
I specialize mostly in early infant development, doing more like early milestones and childhood motor development.
Okay, so with the early intervention of physical therapy at a young age, I think that's pretty foreign to a lot of people because we don't think our babies need that yet.
Right.
How do we recognize that we do need it?
So the simplest answer to that really is that any parent who wants support with their child's motor development, anytime you have a concern, you're noticing something, my baby's really struggling with something, they're not quite yet crawling, and I feel like all the babies their age are crawling, or they're not walking, and I'm concerned that they're not walking. Any parent that has concerns about their baby's motor skills can use some support. You don't necessarily have to wait until they have a delay either. You don't have to wait until you have a concern. And it's not just for kids who have a diagnosis either. I'm here to support parents to give them the tips and the knowledge to help their babies thrive with motor development.
Okay, with that help, do they come to you? Do you go to them? What does that look like?
So I provide in-home services throughout the county. I started my business because I used to work in clinics, and a lot of people said, oh, I wish you could come to my home and work with what I have in my home. And I really felt a passion for that because you can't always carry over what you do in a clinic to your house because you have different equipment, you have different setups, and kids feel more comfortable in their home, especially babies. They are going to thrive with what they have at home, and parents are home with their kids most of the time. That's where they live, that's where they function, and that's the best place for them to really grow and thrive.
Okay, so that's great that you do come to the home for a lot of busy moms. Do you bring in certain tools as well, or are you strictly using stuff in their home?
So sometimes when kids need more equipment, there are definitely times, then sometimes I actually will refer out. So that's one of the things I love about having my own business. I can talk to parents ahead of time and have that conversation and make sure that what they're looking for is what I'm able to provide with in-home services.
So do parents reach out to you first? Should they get a referral from a pediatrician, or it doesn't matter?
So I always recommend talking to your pediatrician first. It's important to have them involved. They're involved in your child's medical care. However, in the state of Florida, you don't require a referral to start with physical therapy services. So you can actually call me and we can just have that conversation and see, if it's something that is needed for your child, or, it might be something that, hey, maybe they just need to wait a little bit longer, or maybe they need to talk to their pediatrician first too.
And do you give an assessment as the initial visit to oversee, like, is mom and dad correct about their understanding of a milestone not being met, or how do you approach that?
So at the initial evaluation, I come in, I get a history from parents, how did birth go? What, did early development look like depending on their ages? And then, start with an assessment. I take a look through, baby or child's full body. We look at their strength. We look at their posture. We look at their, flexibility, how their body moves, how their muscles move, how they feel, look at what they're doing, look at what they're struggling with. And then from there, I develop a program where I give parents, tips and activities to do throughout the week. And we go through all of those. If parents want times to do hands-on, we have the parents go through and do those activities too, so that they feel comfortable with them. One of the biggest things that I really want parents sometimes to know is sometimes it's just little changes to play that can make a huge difference. If your baby's not moving on the floor, sometimes rather than using a static toy, you take that toy away and you give them a toy that's going to move, like blocks. So babies holding blocks, when those blocks fall, they're going to try and get to them. So, just sometimes a change in toy. Sometimes a change in placement. If we want them to move on their bellies on the floor, rather than having that toy right in front of them, we're going to move it a little bit to the side so that they can scooch a little bit and start to feel that movement.
That's some good ideas. I like those. Because sometimes we do forget. Like, just a slight change can have all the difference.
Yes. And that's really, parents really, you get caught up on like the big milestones, but where pediatric physical therapists really shine is in those mini milestones that we're able to come in and help see, okay, in order to get to crawling, we have to do these couple things first. And we're going to take a couple steps back and work on these little parts. And sometimes those little changes just give the kids the keys to unlock the motor abilities.
I like that. Some kids, they struggle with issues like whether it's really early on in the baby with feedings and tummy issues, and then it can transpire to constipation issues and stuff. Does physical therapy help with that?
Absolutely. Everything's tied together. I always say everything always works together, especially early on. And this is, physical therapists really are movement specialists, and everything involves movement. So even early on, breastfeeding involves movement. Tummy time plays a huge role in helping with breastfeeding as well. So if you're struggling with tummy time, that can also lead to struggles with breastfeeding, and vice versa. As far as like constipation, in order to get our GI system moving, we have to move. When we don't move, our GI system doesn't move. So yeah, everything plays a role and interconnects and works together.
Now, a lot of children too will end up having to wear the helmets on their head for the flat spots and stuff. Does your services help with aiding that recovery process?
Yes. And actually, one of the biggest things is if you start early enough, you can actually avoid a helmet. Pediatric physical therapy can make a huge difference in babies with flat spots. Since Back to Sleep, there's been a significant increase in the number of babies. It's upwards of like 50-60% of babies that will develop a flat spot. And if you start by 2-3 months, it can make a world of difference. A lot of these babies, parents go into their pediatricians and they have a concern and they say, hey, notice they have a flat spot here. And they're told, oh, just do more tummy time. A lot of time these kids are already struggling with tummy time. So you have a parent who is now concerned about a flat spot and told to do something that their baby is struggling with, and they just feel like a failure. So it makes it really hard for them. And so what they end up doing is they end up holding their baby all the time because they're afraid to put them down on the floor. And what these babies actually need is movement. Movement, being down on the floor, learning how to move is going to help reshape that head.
And then when choosing your services, do you cover insurance and self-pay, or is it?
No, I'm out of network with insurance. It allows me to really A, travel, and B, to get people in a lot quicker, especially younger infants. I don't want them sitting there waiting for 2-3 months, because by the time they come see me, they're usually either, really struggling or they've worked through whatever it is that they needed help with. So I like to get them in usually within a week or two. I can't always promise that, but I'm out of network with insurance. I do offer super bills. I do offer HSA payments. So
okay, that's great to know. And how can we find you?
I'm on social media at Sandy Toes PT. My website is Sandy Toes PT. I always tell people they can call or text me, and I'm always happy to just chat. Even if parents have a concern, just reach out and we can talk about it, see if it's something I can help with, or sometimes I'll connect you with services. Sometimes parents want a clinic setting, and so I really try to connect them with services that is going to help them. Sometimes they want insurance, they want their insurance to pay for it, because I get it, it's not always cheap. And so I help really refer them to clinics that might be able to help them.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your insight and enlightening us on how physical therapy can benefit babies. It was great having you here today, Rachel.
Thank you.